Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, does the addition of Rajon Rondo make the Clippers scary? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Please make sure you hit that notification bell to ensure that you get our videos when they come out, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out notifications. It happens to other channels as well, so make sure you go ahead and do that. Also, check out our Dreamerspro Max online sports community. It's a sports community that we created. It's a place where you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live with us during games like we did last night, consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, and do so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below, and get 7 days of free access. People have been signing up, and we had a ball last night again, chatting during that game. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. Anyway, so let me get back into the topic. So the Clippers have been playing great as of late, right? They've been playing really well, recently. They've won the last 5 games in a row. The last 5 games that they played, they won them in a row, and they've won 7 out of the last 10 games that the Clippers have been playing. And I think one of the reasons for that is that the Clippers have been focusing more on the defensive side of the floor. If you look at the stretch of maybe the last let's say the last 6 games that they've been playing, the Clippers have really been picking up the intensity and their attention to detail on the defensive side of the floor. Traditionally in the season, they're averaging, opponents are scoring on them about 108.7 points per game. But over the last 5 or 6 games, they've been holding opponents close to about 105 points per game. That's an improvement, because if you think of the Los Angeles Lakers, who are a very good team, they hold opponents about 104 points per game, which is very good. In today's day and age, in this league that we have today, to be holding opponents close to that 100 point mark per game, I think is very impressive. And for the Lakers to be able to do that, I think that's very good. Another thing that I've been noticing is that Kawhi Leonard has really been picking up his play on the defensive side of the floor. I don't know if you know this, but over this stretch, Kawhi Leonard is averaging about 3 steals per game. Just again last night, he got you 3 steals in that game. So he's really been picking it up on the defensive side of the floor, moving his feet, playing great basketball, and I think is inspiring his teammates to go out there and play basketball. We've talked about leadership and how some people lead in different ways, and some people feel like Kawhi Leonard's style of leadership is by leading by example. And if that's the case, he's actually doing that because you're seeing his teammates follow suit. Guys are playing better defense. I've noticed that they've been coming out of games early in games, have been a lot more focused, engaged, especially on the defensive side of the floor. They don't seem to be having as many mental lapses. The only time I can think about when they came out flat on the back of their heels was that game against the Atlanta Hawks, and they ended up getting bailed out by their bench unit, by their second unit. But other than that, they've been playing solid defense really well. And listen, they're doing all of this without Patrick Beverley, who's their best on-the-ball defender at the point guard spot, and their best big, as far as best big overall, and also their best defensive big in Serge Ibaka, right? These guys have been sidelined, Serge and Patrick Beverley have been out. So the Clippers have been doing really well, playing very well. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, they were able to now make a trade to trade away Lou Williams, right, for some cash as well, to acquire Rajon Rondo. And this was a trade that everybody agreed needed to happen, especially during the offseason last season. Everybody was saying that the Clippers really needed a point guard, and the guy that they needed to go after was Rajon Rondo, after you just saw the impact that he had on the Los Angeles Lakers, help assisting them to win another championship, to hang up their 16th banner in that arena. So we all saw the impact that Rajon Rondo had, and everybody agreed at the time that, listen, Rajon Rondo is the guy that this team needs to go after. And when they picked him up, everybody was excited for the team, and they said, listen, this is one of the best moves that the Clippers could have made. The only people that disagreed with this move were Shannon Sharpe and Nick Wright. The irony in all of it is, earlier in the season, they were the ones saying that, listen, they need to go for Rajon Rondo. They need a point guard. And when the Clippers end up getting a guy that they also recommended, all of a sudden, it was the wrong move, right? Nick Wright tried to go up on TV and intellectualize why the Clippers getting Rajon Rondo was a bad move. Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, who don't watch Clippers games, I'm pretty sure, but given a superficial analysis that they gave on TV, they were saying, no, but they lost Lou Williams. They lost their scoring on the bench. I don't know what it means. I'm like, have you been watching the games? Have you been seeing the lack of productivity that they've been getting from Lou Williams? Do you know that his numbers are down? Do you know he doesn't play great defense? Do you know he's turnover prone? Are you aware of all of these things when you're saying that you don't know, you're kind of worrying to see what the Clippers lost? So listen, everyone agreed that was a good trade. with the exception of those of those two things. Now, another thing though that we need to pay attention to, given the fact that they did get Rondo, it doesn't mean that they're out of the water yet. I think the Clippers have a chance to make it to the NBA Finals. However, Paul George still needs to come up big in the playoffs, right? Last night, the members in the chat were going off on Paul George, like, why, they were like, why don't you hold Paul George accountable more? Why don't you hold Paul George accountable more? Well, listen, it's not like as if you can trade him away, right? So we're kind of stuck with him. And given the fact that we're stuck with him, the only thing we can hope for is that he bounces back in the playoffs, this upcoming playoffs, because the Clippers are not going to trade him away. You're not going to trade a $200 million guy away unless you got somebody out there that's really, really, really available, maybe a Jimmy Butler, one of these guys. So they're kind of stuck with him. But I would expect Paul George to really step up, because he's going to be a major ingredient in this recipe that they're trying to put together as far as win another title. So last night during the game, I was watching the game. The Clippers were playing very well, and I saw Rajon Rondo on the sideline working with one of the assistant coaches. And I said to myself, although the Clippers were winning that game and they're doing their thing, there was still some glaring issues that I saw on the team. I saw that they had some difficulty sometimes getting into sets. The Clippers do a horrible job in the pick and roll, defending it and executing it. They always have problems getting Zubac the ball. I don't know why they just cannot figure out that play to get Zubac the ball. And Zubac is like he puts his hand in a bottle, a Crisco or olive oil before he comes out in these games, because he has butterfingers, right? And I'm still kind of perplexed how that they haven't told Zubac, stop coming down with the ball. When you get the ball, stop bringing it down on the floor, because the minute he brings it down on the floor, those guards and those small forwards are swiping at the ball, and they usually knock it out of his hands. So hopefully Rondo can help them. And with their pick and roll on offense and on defense, and also their overall defense, because the Clippers can still improve on their defense. And watching that game, and now beginning to fantasize on what I think Rajon Rondo is going to bring to the team, I'm really beginning to understand that this team is nowhere near their full potential. Okay, fine, they've won 5 games in a row. They've been playing better defense over the last 6 games. But are they ready for the playoffs? Absolutely not. Even Kawhi Leonard said that, I think in one of their wins, I think it was against Atlanta Hawks, he said we're nowhere near where we need to be. And I agree with him. Clippers are nowhere near where they need to be as far as a team that can go out there and win the West. I don't think they're even close. They still have a lot of habits that they need to get rid of. They need to improve their defensive intensity. They need to be more consistent on the defensive side of the floor. I still need to see how Rajon Rondo is going to fit on this team and work with them. He's going to need some time to gel with them. You're also going to need to bring back Serge Ibaka, bring back Patrick Beverley. But given all of those things, I think the potential of this team to do very well is through the roof, right? I think they're going to be scary with Rajon Rondo, especially to the last 15 to 20 games of the season when they're beginning to hit their stride, right? When they're really starting to gear up towards the playoffs and make that final push towards the playoff, because you want to peak at the right time. And I think now is the time that you're going to see the Clippers beginning to pick it up, because the season, now we're going into April. Playoffs begin in May, right? The playing games are towards the end of May, mid-May, third week of May. So listen, I think they have a lot of things to work on, but I think they're going to be scary come playoff time, given the fact, hoping that they're going to be healthy. Right, if they're going to be healthy close to the playoffs, I think the Clippers are going to do very well. You now have an insurance policy in Rajon Rondo over Patrick Beverley, who seems to be injury prone. He hasn't played a lot of the games of the Clippers this season, so Rajon Rondo seems to be a little bit more durable. Although at times he gets injured, he was injured last season. But I think when he's there and everybody and the team is firing on all cylinders, I think they're going to be pretty scary, because now I think they have a very balanced team. They have everything that they need to go out there and win. I heard that the Lakers are probably going to get DeAndre Drummond, which is also going to help them. I don't know if the Clippers are going to be able to pick up another big. Who knows? We'll see what they can do in the buyout market. But as they are right now, if they're healthy and they're playing really, really well, I think the Clippers are going to be scary. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think the Clippers will be scary once they start clicking and really finding their mojo? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.